Welcome to From the Basement Up. My name is Michelle Brandress, and today's episode highlights CEO and co-founder of The Sip, Erica Davis. Erica and her business partner, Catherine Carter, created $1 million business and are truly marketing geniuses. Erica is an expert in the merchandising world and has years of experience working with other great brands we all love. So hi, Erica, and thank you so much for joining us on From the Basement Up.
Hey guys.
Erica, I am so excited to hear the start of this. So I found you online. And first, before we get to the company, tell us about yourself and just your relationship with Catherine.
Yeah, so my name's Erica. I'm from Oakland, California. I am a member of Alpha Kappa Alpha Sorority Incorporated. And the only reason why that is relevant is because that is how I met my best friend and my co-founder. So we met in college. We actually went to two different colleges. Catherine went to University of Santa Barbara and I went to the University of San Francisco. And when she came up for the summer back to the Bay Area, because we're both from Oakland, she actually got in contact with a college friend of mine that was like, I don't have any friends up there right now, so I need someone to hang out with. And the funny thing, we always joke about it, is because I'm no new friends and she's no new friends, but we made a new friend and we literally have been like inseparable ever since. And so we knew all the same people too. So it's kind of insane that we had never met.
So how many years ago did the two of you meet?
It's like a decade ago. Yeah.
Oh, good. That's great. So it was about 10 years of friendship before you started off into the business then.
10 plus, but yes.
Awesome.
That's excellent. So Erica, I'm just curious, what in your past experience kind of led you in the direction of the SIP?
Yeah, I mean, when I think about everything I've done, like being an entrepreneur is honestly in my second nature. Right after college, I went through the RMP program, which is the program for Gap Inc., where it's a rotational program. And so you learn everything from merchandising to planning, got to product development, just essentially like how to run a global business. And in product management, it's all about talking to like other countries. So that's where the global aspect comes in and like building it from the start. I then quickly pivoted to startups. So I worked for a mission-driven startup called Darby Smart at the time, which really its main goal was to help influencers and Pinterest influencers and DIYers at the time on how to like monetize their efforts, their talents, right? And so we put those into kits and curated them. And that was also a subscription. And so I managed that, and I did everything from working closely with our engineering team, our product development, UX, UI, and just a well-rounded view of what a startup is and how it is to build a business. And so when I say it's second nature to me, it's my mom's an entrepreneur. She is a chef. My grandmother was a real estate, we like to call a real estate tycoon. She bought up all of West Oakland. When I was born, it was my house. Next door to my house is my grandmother's house. Next door to my grandmother's house was my aunt's house. And around the corner was my aunt and my uncle, and she owned the whole block.
Wow.
And that was just us, you know, and she owned other real estate where she would rent it out. And so I come from this space where owning your own business is visible for me. And it wasn't for me a matter of like how to do it. It was a matter of when and what I was going to do. And so I've always been focused on building the blocks, I think, in order to start my own business. And then it was just about honestly figuring out what I was passionate about and who I was going to do it with and what it was going to be about and what problem we were going to solve.
Okay. I love how you're like, what problem are we going to solve? And that's something I just love hearing from entrepreneurs. When it's interesting because it seems like you knew right away. Were you a business major?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
So I wasn't originally. So I have like the weirdest thing. So USF has like, I think it's like a 4-6 program where essentially you go undergrad for 3 years, and it's weird to call it 4-6, or it's 3-3. Like you do undergrad for 3 years and then you do law school for 3 years. Okay. USF has like a really good connection with Hastings, which is it's a major law firm. So I originally got into their pre-law program. I started doing internships, did a couple at some places that I won't mention because they weren't pleasant experiences, but it essentially let me know that I was not a political person. I wanted to be DA, and I was like, okay, time to pivot. What else am I really interested in? I literally through high school done law firm interns, everything. Couldn't tell me before college I wasn't going to be a lawyer. And so did that. And then I joined after I decided. I was like, well, business is clearly where I need to go. And then I fell into merchandising. Honestly, they happened to be at my parents told me, I'm cutting you off after college. Like, you have to pay your own bills, so get a job. I went to the job fair at USF my second semester of my senior year, got hired quickly, and then had a job right after college. And knew I wanted to be in business, didn't know if it was going to be fashion. Like, I just kind of like went with the flow, just figure out if it didn't work, something else would. So
Well, it served you well. I mean, that's a great company to just start off with right out of the gates. I mean, just the learning you were able to get exposed to is amazing. So, and actually just being in San Francisco is tremendous, or the Bay Area. There's a lot of opportunities there and options. So that's great. Now, as far as Catherine and being up there, was she also a business major?
Catherine wasn't. We had very similar majors. So while I wanted to be on the law side, so I was we both, I think, were political science majors. She more or less wanted to be like in Sacramento and be a lobbyist. I think for her it was like on that side of it, and she did a lot of that. And then she shifted. I think during college, she actually needed a job during college, and so she worked for. She's gonna kill me. It's a really big hotel, Bacara in Santa Barbara, and she became a concierge, and she quickly got promoted to management. So that's when she started doing operations. And so she is on the operations side of the SIP. So I do everything. We like to split it. I do everything before purchase. She's everything after purchase. So all the customer experience, everything to get that customer to say, this is a brand I like. This is a brand I want to buy for. I click to buy, and once that checkout button has been clicked, Catherine now takes care of that customer.
I love that. Who now? Okay, for the listeners, can you explain the SIP for us?
Yeah, we get this question all the time. But the SIP is a discovery platform for all things sparkling wine and champagne. There's a couple of different ways to sip with us, but the most important thing is we want to help people celebrate and elevate their everyday. And we do that through gifting. So whether you're gifting to yourself with a bi-monthly subscription, or whether you're gifting to a friend with our one-time curated boxes for their birthday, bachelorettes, you name it. Or if it's a company and they sent you a corporate gift to say thank you, we facilitate all those happy moments. And that's like our core, is to help you do that, find your flavor, and just elevate your experience and understand your palate around sparkling wine.
That is so cool.
Isn't it great? It's
We
just
were like, how has someone not thought of this? Like, genius.
and also the
You thought so too.
yeah, the URL is fantastic. I mean, how was that available, or how hard was it to get?
It wasn't. So when we first started the SIP, we did, and this is why it's super common. The SIP Society was our URL our first year, because the SIP wasn't available. And so once we made enough money, we purchased the SIP.
Okay,
Makes sense.
Smart. So smart. I just looking through it and looking at the experience, and now that you're talking about the gifting options, and it's brilliant. It's brilliant. So the other thing I wanted to ask about was timing, because when you created this, it was during the pandemic, correct?
So we started working on the business in 2019 as just an idea, right? So I think I had just come off of maternity leave. Our company was about to be acquired, and I was staying on for the acquisition. Catherine was looking for a change too. And so we started working on it. We solidified and said for sure full time, October 2019. And then we launched to the public in January of 2020.
So in my mind, this is perfect timing. It is, because everybody was on Zoom trying to connect, and you had this product people could connect with. And this is one thing, when I was looking through this and looking at, you have a social side to this with, Thirsty Thursdays, and I wanted you to talk about that too, because I thought that was brilliant.
Yeah, I mean, we get this question a lot about the pandemic, and I think for us, like, we don't know any different, so I can't really say what it would like if we didn't have the pandemic. But to your point, like one of the great things I think about the pandemic for anybody who is an entrepreneur to their core is that the pandemic made us be more creative and pivot, but pivot to where it still made sense. And so when the SIP started in January 2020, we were just a subscription. We didn't have Thirsty Thursdays that you talked about. We did go to festivals though. So, right. So that's where we started meeting the majority of our people at local festivals, wine festivals, you name it. So obviously in March 2020, that all shut down. We started thinking like, okay, so how can we still connect? And like, at the end of the day, like business owners are still people, right? And so you take the vibe and the flow of the culture and you should run with it and pivot your business to accommodate. And so for us, we started one-time boxes because people were like, hey, it's February. I know your box ships out in January, but I still want a box. And so, or it's April. So okay, let's do one-time boxes. People started doing Zoom happy hours. So, and asking us to come to them. We met a group called Black Girls Wine Society. They were like, we'd love to have you guys come. We'll all purchase boxes. Can you do a sip tasting through it? So we were like, yes. And then this was amazing. And Catherine and I already have girls' nights on Zoom. So we just took it to Instagram. And so for us, we were so small. It's such a pivotal time in your business. You can do anything. If it doesn't work, stop doing it, right? It's just about being creative. And so what Thirsty Thursdays really is, to answer your question, is just us recapturing our girls' nights. We literally come on, we talk all things SIP. We try to get that out the way, anything business, any updates out the way. We ask each other silly questions. We play drinking games and we talk about the Real Housewives of whatever is on.
Oh my God.
Yes. I mean, it's the best thing ever. And people always have, you know, your team this, team that. It just facilitates a conversation. And that's literally how Catherine and I's girls' nights would be. It's not taking yourself too seriously. It's saying whether you like a wine or not, if it's Dom, if it's Renoir, if it's La Marca, like whatever is your vibe you want in your cup to talk about things, that's what we ask for. Most people come with their boxes that they got from us the month, sip through. We talk about our tasting notes, what we taste, what we don't taste. I'm not a sommelier, neither is Catherine, neither one of us are Witsets, but we know our own palates and we know what affects the palates. And obviously we're knowledgeable to some extent, right? But my point of saying is you don't have to be an expert in wine to know whether or not you like it. And that's the whole point of the SIP.
So when I was looking through your website and I was reading it, it's fun. And it's about connection. It's about having fun and just getting rid of the fancy things and the barriers to entry that you might have, you know, wanting to experience some of these champagnes. And I love that you offer both the full bottles and then you also offer the small bottles, because I'll open a bottle of champagne, you know, if I'm with my husband, and I hate throwing out champagne. It's the worst thing. So you have the perfect size bottles. I was thrilled to see that. I loved it. So when did the idea of the SIP come to you?
Yes. So how do we explain this? So I came up with the idea because I really knew I wanted to start a business. And I was trying to find a genuine problem that I had in my life. And I saw a direct solution to. So I really think sometimes people try to, like I talked about it earlier, they try to solve things that they think are a problem, but they really don't affect them. And I think, one, you're not as knowledgeable about the problem, right? Because it's not affecting you. But also, two, like sometimes we force problems on people and it might actually be something else. But three, then you have to work on being an expert in it. And so we wanted to find something that felt genuine to us and that was just an easy flow. And so for me, I wouldn't have a passion for it. So Catherine and I had always had our girls' nights, right? And we were buying expensive bottles and trying them. And I would buy a bottle, Catherine would as well. And we found that like, sometimes I liked it for my palate, sometimes she liked it for her palate, or we both liked it. And we literally had no understanding of why. Like we couldn't find a pattern. And so we actually tried to find a subscription for this. So it's funny that you guys said like, how did this not exist already? That's literally what we thought. We were like, okay, well, let's just join a champagne subscription and try a bunch of bottles. It has to exist, right? There's so subscriptions for everything. There was only subscription for still wine. We could literally not find anything that was by the glass so we could taste it. And then if we liked it, buy the full size bottle, right? It
Mhm.
was like all these random, or we would have to go specifically to one house and then taste through their wines, but there's like 8 or 9 bottles. So that's what, 2 girls' nights. And so
I think you just hit it. You hit it on the head here. This is just, you nailed it. And then on top of it, you created a subscription or a membership offering. And
yeah,
it's fantastic, because then you get, you don't just have one or two and you get caught up in life. It's something to look forward to. You're going to have your special box of happiness arrive with your bubbles, and you have something to look forward to. So then you have another reason to connect with your besties. And that's what was so cool about it. So
Yeah.
I love that. I mean, I'm actually I'm a transplant. I live on the East Coast now. I'm from the West Coast, and those Zoom calls mean a lot to me. And we'll get there with our glass of wine or whatever anyone wants to drink. So I love that you are creating this for people, like a connection point.
thank you. When we think about it, we found a lot of people also having the same issues we were having. So a lot of women that looked like me and Catherine were being marketed to alcohol in a very deliberate way. There's always this thought process around like, we like sweet wine. It's actually not my preference. It is Catherine's, but it's not mine, right? And we thought we were just exploring our own palates, but it actually turned out that there was a lot of people having the same issues. So for us, it's about thinking about the palate first. And a lot of people don't know this, but your palate is very similar to a fingerprint, right? It's individual and unique to you. And so, and it's really shaped by your life experiences. So what you enjoyed as a kid and ate really directly affects what you enjoy as an adult. And so if you like spicy foods, you might like Syrahs and Malbecs with spicier setbacks. Or if you had different spices, that you might like Brut more than this. And I'm totally making these things up, and that's the unique thing that we try to talk about though, right? And so it's hard to say, and it's almost dangerous to say that you look like this, so you should like that. It's not the truth. And so for us, it was about reshaping this and reshaping a woman's first experience around sparkling wine and really putting her in a judgment-free zone where she could feel okay and safe to say, I might not like that Dom Perignon, but I love that $20 Chandon bottle. And that not being looked down on.
Yeah.
Brilliant. I love it. And I always, you get these fancy things or these very expensive things, and there are times where I don't like it at all. And the fact that you're just going, that's actually okay, and that's good. And there are alternatives that are actually your pocketbook would like a lot better. So
Yeah.
I think it's fantastic. So
And that you have the like ability and freedom to try it on your own. Like you don't need to be marketed to. You're like, I know what I like, and I'm excited to try. Yeah.
And that's the best part. And we allow them to our sippers get to review and rate their bottles. And then we send you recommendations within that flavor profile. And that's kind of the whole building your palate, right? So we give you $10, yes, to a full size bottle, but more or less we're kind of solving the problem that you don't know what you want. And so many times you grab a bottle and you loved it, and you got a different bottle and you love that bottle too, but there's no information to tell you why you like both. Right? We provide that middleman. We're that middleman. We're like, oh, you love this one and you love this one. Guess what? Black currant is actually like the predominant note. So you might want to try these items that also have that note in it and are from a similar region. So I can look at your flavor profile and say like, hey, you are partial to Champagne region, Epernay specifically, with brioche notes and this level of dosage. Here are 20 bottles you probably would love to try. Here's $10 now to go purchase those bottles.
It's so cool.
So I'm laughing too, because you sound so fancy.
You
so,
do. You know so.
Yeah. So
Not, I hope.
no, it's amazing. And I'm sitting here going, I hope you're able to take some trips to France at this point and check out different Champagne regions and all of these things. And pretty cool. It's really
No,
cool.
I'm supposed to actually be going. So my husband and I went prior to the pandemic to Paris. We didn't get to go to Champagne, but I'm actually going for my birthday in October. So
Oh my gosh,
Hey,
exciting.
that's a good birthday. And you know what? It's your launch party. You get to celebrate. Absolutely. I mean, I don't know if you were able to celebrate during the pandemic. So now you get to celebrate.
Not really. It's funny. We had Zoom cheers
Mm,
for our 1 year.
yeah. Oh, that's so crazy. Yeah. And like you said, you're like, we don't know anything else. We don't know anything different. And now you have like the whole like Champagne region of France to go explore.
I
I
know.
know, I'm excited.
That sounds fantastic. So I want to ask, what is your favorite part of running the SIP?
What is my favorite part? I probably shouldn't say this. So like I am very like, it gives me the ability to have my hands in everything. I'm not someone like I'm not built for corporate America. I can't be very siloed. I love to think big picture, I think is one of my favorite things. But if I really had to sit back and think about what's my favorite thing about the SIP, it has to be like our ability to give back. And so when we started this, our core focus was we wanted to have a philanthropic core. We're both from Oakland, California. And so there's a ton of homeless shelters. I don't know if you guys know about all the encampments here, but there's a rampage of homelessness, and especially with Black and brown little kids. And so there's a program here called East Oakland Community Project. And we actually, within our program called Take a Sip, Give a Sip, we give back water for every single purchase, for every unit. So we give 16 ounces. So even if you buy the smallest little sipper to a box, we're giving 16 ounces of clean drinking water to that organization. And then with our subscriptions, we're able to double it. And we go beyond that. For us, it's about being in our backyard. We're both from Oakland, making sure that we're giving back to our community and making sure that we're having a space where we are able to offer different things. So we have different programs that we're doing with other brands where we're bringing in Black and brown influencers to talk directly to brands who are marketing to them. And then we just started our SIP internship. We have 4 interns. And so the ability to give this next generation access to understanding how startups operate and focus is core. And we're able to teach them things that'll help them move forward as they journey through their career in wine.
You're stepping into a mentorship. That's fantastic. Wonderful.
Like an entrepreneur mentorship
I
too.
know. Exactly. So how many employees do you have now?
Oh gosh. We're still a small but mighty team. I think there's 10 of us total.
That's a lot. I mean, this is only a couple years old. I mean,
Yeah.
that's remarkable. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Do you see it? Is it most of it like on the marketing side, or is it a lot of it in the operations, getting the boxes out the door and shipped out?
It's almost evenly dispersed. So we have a merchandising team, we have marketing. We also have operations. We probably have about 1 extra person in operations. The great thing about our product is that we curate experiences, and we're able to we have our own warehouse, so we're able to do like what they call pre-packs. So we're able to get people product really fast because of that. So we're not packing to an order. And then we also have customer service and things like that. But so I think it's pretty split evenly, 5 on my side and 5 on the operations side. We would include customer service and operations.
What do you think your biggest hurdle was, like aside from the pandemic, just for, other people wanting to start up a business? What's something that you would recommend for them to be aware of?
For a business or honestly, for us, it was just, what was our biggest issue? I think the best thing about working in a startup, if you ever worked in a startup, there's this mindset that you need to just do it. It doesn't have to be perfect, just do it. And I think prior to working at a startup, I would have been so caught up in like making sure my website was perfect, making sure I had like a fully thought through plan, because all of that, honestly, month 2 just went out the door anyways.
Mm-hmm.
And so for us, it's just, for most people, I would say, just start. If you have the idea, just start. It doesn't have to be perfect. Every time if you're in a startup, there's something called an MVP, which is the most viable product. Get that out, see if customers actually want your product. Will someone actually pay you for this? That will tell you anything, because you can spend 5 hours, 20 months, 2 years figuring out a product, but if no one actually wants to purchase it, you don't have a business. And so the quicker you can come to whether or not your product is sellable, marketable, people actually want it, the better off you'll be and the less time you'll waste.
Efficiency.
You had it dialed in
Yeah.
from day one. So what do you think your biggest win was?
I think my biggest win was figuring out a good system with my co-founder. I think you always hear, and it's still a progress, let's be clear. You always hear, don't do business with your friends, don't do business with family. There's a bunch of don'ts, right? We literally clearly did not listen. But I think for us, it was about finding the right balance, also trying to have a small boundary between business and work. And I say small because it's our friendship that keeps us going. Like, I know at the end of the day, we don't have bureaucracy, we don't have politics in our company because we love each other. She's my best friend. She's more like my sister, right? Like, she knows my family, I know her family, we're intertwined. So when we do have a disagreement, I think to our core, we both know that the other person loves you and has your best interest. So it allows you to not always take things so personally that you would have if you didn't know someone, when you don't actually understand why they did something that might have offended you or etc. Right? Or you know how someone speaks, so you kind of like vibe that out. We didn't have to learn each other. And so finding the right balance and then making sure we're respecting each other and we still are friends 3 years later is a pretty big, I'm going to her baby shower. You know what I mean? Like, we're still relevant in each other's lives. So
I love that you're becoming moms together too.
Yeah, I have a 4-year-old and her daughter this is her second baby.
Okay.
So she'll be 3 in October. And I always laugh and I say she had a little mini me because she's also a Scorpio and she acts a lot like me. I was like, you had to have me.
Oh my God, that's so cute.
And now she's having a little boy. So
Oh, good. Nice. So as far as like the next evolution goes for the SIP, do you have other plans on it? Because I love your gifting and I feel like you kind of nailed everything down really, really well. But I'm curious what your next step is if you have things on the horizon.
There's so much for us to unlock. We still haven't done a bit. Like, for us, we want to be able to bring more champagne and sparkling wine, like, imported in. We want you guys to meet all of the fabulous Black-owned, brown-owned sparkling wine companies that we've met and put those in our boxes. And then we also have cocktails that we want to start infusing in our boxes, and then being more a part of the community. So for us, it's about focusing on being more community driven, also like increasing our offerings to have now cocktails, but then also just venturing out into other areas. So we'll see.
It's brilliant. I'm like, wow, this is going to be huge. I mean, it's giant already. It's so impressive. So congratulations. This is amazing. And I would love for you to be able to share, and I saw something on your website, but I wanted you to kind of give the listeners kind of like words that you live by or your mantra.
Oh, I have so many. My favorite thing, what am I living by these days? Because I literally every day have to give myself a different mantra of like what to do. But my favorite quote, it was actually in my vows to my husband, and I think it's core, is always this idea. It's a Maya Angelou quote. People will forget what you did and what you said, but they'll never forget how you made them feel. And so for us at the SIP, we want you to feel celebrated. We want you to feel happy. And most importantly, we want you to not feel judged.
I love that. I just got chills when you were saying it as well.
Yes.
We love that quote.
So, and it's just that freeing thing where it's just like I said, you're creating these moments and you're shipping out happy vibes, celebrations. It's a good thing. And it's what a nice thing to be able to celebrate your work on a daily basis. So this is fantastic. And all the good work you're doing in your community. So thank you.
Good vibes only.
Yes. But thank you for sharing. And Erica, I really appreciate this and congratulations.
Thank you guys. This was fun.
Yes, so fun. Thank
Absolutely.
you for coming on.
And Emily and I are going to go to thesip.com and check it out and become members. So I really appreciate it. Please tell your team hello. And you guys are doing great work.
Thank you guys. Have a good one.
You too.
Thank you to our listeners for joining us for today's episode. And thank you to my amazing producer, Emily Flanagan. She deals with all my shenanigans. Julia Augustino, thank you for the amazing composition that you have made for the podcast. And listeners, feel free to check us out on our social media channels. Don't forget to give us a 5-star review. And you can also visit us on FromTheBasementUp.com. Thank you so much.